Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. This is Raghav from NLTI and today we are going to discuss what should be your 6 months roadmap for CLAT 27. CLAT के लिए अब बस 6 महीने बाकी हैं and many students they wonder how they should start if they're starting from scratch, when they should give mocks, what all they should cover. So we are going to cover everything in this video using the PYQ analysis, using our approach. Everything will be covered, so stay tuned. So if we talk about is it possible to crack CLAT in 6 months, the answer is a big yes. So if you stop wondering and start taking action upon it, CLAT is not really a very tough exam. If you compare it with other exams like JEE, NEET, CLAT is a relatively easy exam. So if you have the right plan, if you have the right strategy, then 6 months are more than enough. If we talk about the number of annual applicants, so 70,000 plus applicants are there. So 88,000 plus applicants they had registered for CLAT UG and PG, and out of that 72,000 applicants were from CLAT UG. Total number of seats are 3,000 plus, and the odds of you entering into an NLU is 1 in 23. So the odds are comparatively less, but the competition, the level of the exam, that is also less. Questions, 120 questions in 120 minutes. So that is pretty much doable because most of the questions they are passage based, and 5 to 6 questions they are asked from one passage. So if you read the passage carefully, you can attempt 6 questions in less than 8-9 minutes. So that is very much doable. Now let's talk about the CLAT exam pattern in a brief manner. So as I told you, the number of questions 120, that everybody more or less knows that. So the number of questions is 120. Apart from that, the total marks is 120, so plus 1 for every correct answer. Duration 120 minutes. Negative marking is 0.25 for every wrong answer, and the format post 2020 has been 100% passage based. So pre 2020, the pattern, the format of the exam was fact based, one-liner based, but after that it has been 100% passage based. Now talking about direct fact recall, of course if the exam is passage based, then you don't need to recall direct facts apart from the GK section sometimes. Apart from that, you don't need to recall any direct facts. Participating NLUs, there are 26 NLUs which accept the CLAT exam. Apart from NLU Delhi, it accepts ALET exam held separately for NLU Delhi, and the exam is held in December every year. Mostly first Sunday of every December is the exam date. Now talking about the difficulty level, CLAT has been moderate to hard. You can also say easy in CLAT 24, CLAT 25, so they were relatively easy. CLAT 26 was on a moderate to hard side again, because of the drastic pattern changes in the CR section. So no CR was asked directly. AR had a heavier weightage. So the CR, the logical reasoning section, that was primarily dominated by analytical reasoning, and many students were caught off guard since many of them they focus on CR, they focus on statement assumptions and statement based reasoning. But on the exam day, the CLAT consortium they drastically revised the pattern from CR domination to AR domination, and many students were caught off guard. So that is why CLAT 26 is considered to be on a moderate side. You can also say moderate to hard side. Now talking about the section wise weightage, English section comprises of 22 to 24 marks. Current affairs / the GK section 28 to 32 marks. Very important and very unpredictable. So GK is more or less the make or break section in CLAT. If you are not heavily prepared for it, it can cost you a year. Legal reasoning, again primary section 28 to 32 marks. Logical reasoning / AR / CR comprises of 22 to 24 questions again, and quantitative techniques 10 to 12 questions. So most of the students they leave the QT section for the last, thinking that इसकी weightage कम है and ये हम बाद में कर लेंगे, but वहीं पे they face the biggest problem. So आप 1 महीने 2 महीने पहले अगर आप concepts को पढ़ने जाओगे तो आपको प्रैक्टिस का टाइम इतना नहीं मिलता है, एंड देन यू लूज दीज 10 to 12 मार्क्स. सो आई डोंट नो एनीवन who was bad at QT and they made it to the top 3 NLUs. So that is absolutely the case. If you want to enter the top 3 NLUs, you have to be prepared for all the sections. Now talking about the passage theme breakdown, if we specifically talk about CLAT 26, English passages were from non-cooperation movement, political philosophy and Hungry Stones by Rabindranath Tagore. So this tells you that you should broaden your horizon of reading. You should just not be reading newspapers and legal passages. You should be reading, you should be going through historical movements, political literature, analytical non-fiction. So all the themes should be covered by you apart from legal reading. Now talking about the legal reasoning PYQ map, what previous year question papers show us, these are the 6-7 topics that are constantly being repeated every year. Under tort law, negligence and defamation are being repeated for the last 5 years. Who is negligent in the case? What constitutes defamation? What constitutes liability if there's a conflict between two individuals? So negligence and defamation, they constitute the CLAT paper since the last 5 years. Coming on to contract law, a void contract, a voidable contract, when is a contract null and void, when is a contract enforceable, that is also being asked in the exam for the last 5 years. Then criminal law, IPC principles. So basically CLAT wants to test your understanding of criminal law, what constitutes a crime, how many IPCs are there. So that is also coming for the last 4 years. Now talking about the privacy and data domain, DPDP Act and online privacy, protection of your privacy rights, these are also being asked for the last 4 years. Now from the Family/Marriage Act, void marriages, when a marriage is considered void from the beginning, what constitutes a legal marriage, that is being asked from the last 3 years. From environment law, public interest litigation, liability is being asked from the last 3 years. And then from juvenile justice, JJ Act passages, they also have a frequency of being occurred for the last 2 years. Now what CLAT 2026 legal reasoning actually tested? They are not testing that how many law sections have you memorized. They are testing how you can apply the given principle. So to a fact, if you can apply a principle in the best manner possible, they are testing your ability to do that. Reading facts precisely is what CLAT is testing. They are not testing your prior legal knowledge of maxims, of principles. They are just testing how you read the facts properly. How you apply logic under a rule, that is what CLAT is testing. They are not telling you to memorize all the section numbers of IPC. Indian Penal Code, you don't need to memorize it by heart. You just need to have a knowledge of it. They will not ask you that which crimes fall under this IPC. And obviously policy reasoning, since you are all going to be lawyers, how you can frame a reasonable policy, how your policy can benefit everyone in your vicinity, that is what they are testing, and they are not testing case law citations. Now coming on to the logical section. So CLAT really puzzled all the students. They literally puzzled all the students by giving analytical puzzles, blood relations puzzles in the CLAT 26 exam. So this tells you that you should not just rely on statement based critical reasoning. You should be prepared for each and every type of reasoning, be it your syllogism, be it your blood relations, be it coding, decoding. Also statement based reasoning, that includes assumptions, inference, course of actions, and you should be prepared basically for everything. You cannot leave out anything. Most of the students, they prepared for just the statement based CR section, they left the AR section, but then CLAT puzzled them on the D-Day and they suffered the most. So as it shows, 70% was from puzzle based logical reasoning, mainly including your arrangements, blood relations, and then 30% was from your arithmetic and complex analytical reasoning, basically your percentages, ratio proportion. So topics from QT, they were integrated in analytical reasoning. Now what the GK and current affairs PYQ pattern shows us. So what comes every year versus what you can absolutely skip. So in CLAT-26, the GK passage topics were from US tariff policies under Donald Trump, how he was imposing tariffs on every country, be it on India, be it on China, the import tariffs. Then the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. So summits, treaties, this is something that you should definitely study. Indus Water Treaty and Pahalgam attack, again very important. So anything that is involving international relations, conflicts, import tariffs, economy, global economy, so that is something which you should definitely study. So now let's talk about the priority matrix. If the topic area is Supreme Court judgments, if any important judgment has come out in the last 6 months, then the priority for that will be very, very high. Constitutional events, recently there was a news that the number of seats in the Lok Sabha, it has already passed. The number of seats in Lok Sabha, they have increased by almost 300 seats. So that was very important in the last 6 months. So any constitutional event happening in the last 6 months, very, very high priority. National appointments, if there is a CGI appointment, RBI governor, cabinet minister, elections, in state elections, so the important elections in West Bengal, how BJP has crushed TMC in the elections, that is also very important if it has happened in the last 6 months. New legislation, any new legislation that has been passed, the key provisions for that is very important. Again, international events, all the major events, Iran-Israel conflict, the policy of US, then how Narendra Modi has gone to Netherlands. So this is somewhat of a medium priority. Science and geography, very low, you cannot cover all the things in this domain. And then sports and entertainment, you can of course skip. Now talking about what should be your month-wise schedule. In month 1 and 2, you have to build your foundation. So what you've got to do on a daily basis is read 1 Hindu editorial, 20 legal reasoning questions, static GK base, build a base of polity, history, economy, what is the current GDP of India, what is the fiscal deficit, what constitutes GDP. So this will constitute your static GK, and then diagnostic mock at the end of 1 month to identify leaks. So you've got to attempt 1 or 2 mocks at the end of month 1 so that you can identify your errors, where you lack, where you are strong, so that you can make up your plan accordingly. Now month 3 to 4 will be for skill building. Then you have to shift from topics to timed sectional tests. So if you have studied a particular topic, let's say in QT you've studied ratio proportion, you've studied percentages, then you've got to attempt sectional tests for that section. Month 5 should focus on mock integration. In this month 5, you can say from in October, you should be giving at least 15 to 20 full length mock tests. And then what you have to do is maintain an error logbook of all the errors that you've made in all the mocks. So what you do is just keep 1 page for 1 section. What sort of error did you make? Was it a factual error? Was it a knowledge error? Or was it a silly mistake? And then you have to write your remark on that. This error book will basically help you in the last 5 to 6 days. And then month 6 is to basically convert your skills into performance. You don't need to attempt any new topics, learn any new things apart from the GK. You don't need to do any new topics from legal reasoning, from critical reasoning, from QT. Just maintain what you have did, and in the last month, in the November month, attempt at least 10 to 15 mocks again. But you don't need to attempt any mock 3 days to 4 days before the exam. Now what can your score trajectory look like? So you don't need to panic if you're getting low scores in your month 1. In month 1, in the foundation phase, your average should be 40 to 45 marks. In month 2, when you've covered 40 to 50%, 30 to 40% of the syllabus, your trajectory should look like 55 to 65 marks. Then in month 3 and in month 4, your trajectory should move to 75 to 85 marks when you've covered most of the syllabus. And then in the last month, when you've given enough mocks, when you know everything, your trajectory should look like 85 to 95 marks. And then on the exam day, based upon the difficulty level, if you're scoring 95 marks in mocks, you can expect at least 100 marks in the CLAT exam, because mocks are relatively at a higher difficulty level. So if you're scoring 94, 95 marks in mocks, then you can easily score 102 to 103 marks in the CLAT exam. So this is it from my side. I hope you found the video valuable, and I hope that you integrate everything that we've told in your 6-month CLAT preparation. Thank you. All the best.